界のみんなとつながろう Bridges across world communities.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bridges Across World Communities, sponsored by NIA, the Nishinomiya City International Association. My name is Thelma.
And I'm Floyd. Each month we provide practical knowledge for daily living and important information about disaster prevention.
This program is for English-speaking residents in the Nishinomiya area and is broadcast on the second Saturdays of each month from 12 noon to 12:15.
This month we'll talk about a few differences in local customs between Kansai and Kanto.
Our disaster prevention tip is about what to do when you witness a fire.
And we have the second half of our interview with Mr. J. Wingard, originally from the U.S. and now living in Kyoto.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会です。
Happy April, Thelma. Did you have a chance to enjoy the sakura blossoms this month?
Oh, happy April to you too, Floyd. Yes, the cherry blossoms were a little bit late this year, but beautiful as usual. So what's our topic this month?
Well, we thought it might be fun to talk about some of the differences in culture and local customs between the Kansai and Kanto regions of Japan.
That's a good idea, and I know foreigners are often surprised to hear about the many differences between these two areas of Japan, especially since they are only 2.5 hours apart by Shinkansen.
Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes. But before we get started, perhaps we should define the two areas first.
Okay, the Kanto region is on an eastern part of Honshu and the main island of Japan, and it is include Tokyo and the 6 prefectures of Kanagawa, Chiba, Saitama, Gunma, Tochigi, and Ibaraki.
The Kansai region, on the other hand, is in the western part of Honshu and includes all of Osaka, Kyoto, and the 4 prefectures of Hyogo, Shiga, Nara, and Wakayama. Nishinomiya is in Hyogo Prefecture, so that makes us part of Kansai too. So, shall we start with some of the differences in local food?
Oh, okay, sure. In general, food served in Kanto has a stronger flavor, while the food in Kansai is considered to be more subtle and less strongly flavored.
Yeah, and a good example of this is the sauce used for udon noodles. The sauce in Kanto is a deep brown color because it uses a lot of dark soy sauce, while in Kansai it's a lighter color because we use a smaller amount of a thinner soy sauce.
And when it comes to tamagoyaki, the version most commonly served in Kanto has a sugar added, making it kind of sweet. Well, whereas in Kansai, tamagoyaki is flavored with salt instead.
Yeah, even the shape of mochi is different. In Kanto, it's square or, cut mochi, while in Kansai, it's rounded, kind of a shaped mochi.
Well, apparently, edamame sushi, or sukiyaki and tempura are foods closely associated with the Kanto region as well.
Yeah, that's right. And a couple of my favorite local foods, okonomiyaki and takoyaki, are closely associated with the Kansai region.
Okay, moving on to some other differences. How about which side of the escalator to stand on?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of visitors traveling around Japan are puzzled by this.
Yeah, that's kind of funny there too. Now in Kansai, we stand on the right, so people walking on the escalator can pass us on the left. In Kanto, it's the opposite, and people stand on the left side. This leads to some confusion when people travel between regions.
Well, you can really notice this when you go through a Shinkansen station like Shin-Kobe, Shin-Osaka, or Kyoto. So easy to spot people who just arrived from Kanto region standing on the wrong side of the escalator.
Yeah. I guess the same thing happens when people travel from Kansai to Kanto. It's kind of funny.
Well, did you know that there's also a big difference in how people speak in two regions, Floyd?
Yeah, it's almost like 2 different dialects of Japanese. Now, around here, people often speak Kansai-ben, while in Kanto region, they speak Hyojungo, or Standard Japanese.
Do you know any Kansai-ben?
I know a few words, like, let's see, okini instead of arigato for thank you, and mecha, which is, or mecha, I think is how you pronounce it, instead of totemo for very.
Now let's move on to another big difference between the Kansai and Kanto regions,
Okay.
the character of the people.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that, but I really haven't spent enough time in Kanto to notice the difference.
Well, in general, people from Kansai are a little bit sunnier and more direct, and they speak louder and often show a stronger sense of humor. Well, they seem very friendly, and many foreigners find people from Kansai easy easier to connect with.
Yeah, I mean, Osaka people remind me of New Yorkers, and I really like that.
Okay. However, sometimes the Kansai humor can be too strong, leading to excessively, teasing of friends or coworkers.
In Kanto, on the other hand, people are considered a little more serious and reserved, and might not like those who have more of a Kansai-type personality.
Now, one thing you might hear in Kanto is people bragging about the expensive things they bought. But in Kansai, especially in Osaka, people like to brag about the good deal they got and how inexpensive something was.
It sounds like the people in Kansai and the people in Kanto have different values and take pride in different things. Now, I'm still surprised by these differences in culture and local customs when traveling across, really relatively short distances in Japan. Keeps things fresh and exciting.
That's true. Even people who live in Japan, their whole lives still enjoying experiencing these differences.
Perhaps along with their popular Japanese language classes, NIA should offer some Kansai Ben lessons. I'd sign up for that.
Well, me too. I talked to them about it.
Okay.
7.7 Sakura FM.
And we'd like to welcome back Jay Wingard for the second half of our interview. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, last month we were just getting into, Ode to Joy and your, I'm going to call it a bit of an obsession with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. But just to back up a little bit, you've just been in Japan since September. What brought you to Japan?
Well, like you said, the Ninth is very much a compulsion for me. And so it's something like I hear it playing wherever it plays, whenever it plays. I feel like a need to be there almost. And so the Ninth, how that relates to Japan is, I guess...
I would think it would be more of a German or Austrian thing.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Japan has a very unique relationship with the Ninth, appreciation for it that is unique even compared to Beethoven's native Austria and Germany, right? Like the amount of citizen choirs, the 10,000, Santori Ichimani no Daikyu, all of that is like very unique, right? There's nothing else like it in the world. And, let alone with the Santori Ninth. I'm not a professional singer, right? But I've known for a long time that I've wanted to perform in the Ninth, right, and sing it. Like I feel like I, of all people, should.
So you came to Japan to perform in the Ninth Symphony.
Originally, yes.
Did you perform it before coming to Japan, like in the States or somewhere else? So that was the first time for you.
Yeah, 2022 actually. I came for the 2,000 person performance of it, and that was the first one. I did do the one in 2021. That was all online though.
Oh, okay.
But this year or last year, 2023, I knew I had to come back for the full 10,000 person as well.
That's dedication.
Yeah, well, it's just like I have to do it, just like writing my book, actually.
Yeah. So that's what we were just going to talk about. Your book is called From Ode to Joy, and it goes into a lot of why maybe obsession is not your word, but you're so involved with the Ninth Symphony. Do you want to just kind of go over briefly, like what you're covering in the book?
Yeah, so it's the only book I feel qualified to write, but it was a book that I felt compelled to write as well. Like these thoughts just never stop swirling around in my head, and it at a high level, it's supposed to be an introduction to the Ninth, right? And kind of the music, what it means, and the history. But it's also very much a subjective interpretation, my own interpretation of the music. But at the same time, that subjective interpretation, I think, like I said in the subtitle, is a pathway that anyone can follow to arrive at the same conclusions and the same points. Like it's all there within the symphony, like a blueprint. And
what's all there?
Well, everything really. It's been described, especially in the very beginning of the first movement, as sound coming out of nothing, right? Like the creation of the universe, and it's like a perfect equation almost that covers life and humanity's purpose within life, right? Why are we here even, right? Like those are the kind of questions I start out in the book asking. And
did your relationship to the Ninth change after you actually sang in the choir?
I suppose it didn't change, but at the same time, it was like something I always had to do. And the thing is, like, as much as I have written in this book, my understanding of the Ninth is still always improving. There's always more to learn and improve on with this piece.
Are there other people involved with it at this level?
The book, you mean?
Well, in the ninth, I mean, there must be a group of people who share the interest in
Oh
this
yeah.
way.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of Japanese people share this interest, but it's very famous in the world too, and you as well, right?
We met at last year's
Right.
Nights, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of people in the world that enjoy the ninth. I think I think most everyone likes the ninth. Pretty much everyone's heard the tune, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe fewer people have actually thought about it a lot or know the words, right? Especially considering they're in German.
Yeah.
And so but just the poem, right? Schiller's poem is a vision for humanity, right? It's a goal for humanity to strive to, right? A world where the magic of joy brings us all together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very beautiful vision that we're still not quite there yet. And I do mention that in the book, of course, but I think by following this path, right, both on an individual level towards enlightenment and then a collective level towards collective enlightenment as a race, right?
The way the world is right now, I'd like to see a little more of that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I think, the 200th anniversary of the ninth is coming up in May, and I think this is the perfect time for us to figure out what is the third century of the ninth in this world going to look like.
So how can people get this book?
Well, they can get it on Amazon. It's available on Amazon, as well as going to my website, Beethoven2024.com.
Okay.
And I have a lot of resources, as well as a great project that's still a little under wraps coming up in May for the 200th anniversary.
Now, I also heard you trying to get Yutaka Sado.
I would
get
love
an interview.
to. Yeah, I would love to interview him, but I'd love to interview a lot of folks, actually, and I have sent my book to a few famous composers.
Sado-san's a big fan of our show, so maybe if we just mention.
That'd be great. I would love to.
Jay would like to talk to you,
Oh, yes.
Sado-san.
Sado, if you're
give
listening,
us a call.
please. But, visit my website. You can get in touch with me there as well. Anyone listening, I'd love to grow and build this community. And I want to make my website a place for people who enjoy the ninth to collaborate and come together.
Well, it sounds like coming to Japan is actually taking you further along your journey with the Ninth Symphony. So,
oh, yeah, definitely.
So do you plan to stay here?
I would love to. It's a little up in the air at this moment. But, the Santori Ninth has a big opportunity, I think, to be that place, like an actual place and the symphony for the whole world, where anyone, right, has the potential. It's already the largest in the world, but I think it has the potential to kind of be that place for me, right, for anyone in the world.
Now, we're almost running out of time again. Right. This is going so quickly, but we have a very important question to ask of William.
Yeah.
How do you like living in Japan? You like it here?
From my opinion,
yes.
My personal opinion.
Yeah, your honest opinion.
About 75 to 25%.
You'd rather move back to North Carolina? Why? What do you miss?
75% is to North Carolina, 25 is over.
Okay. Well, you have to talk to your parents about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And again, I love hearing about your passion about the ninth.
Thank you.
And again, I encourage people to look up your book.
All right. And thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
防災情報です。
During early spring, the weather is dry and fire incidents tend to occur more often.
What should someone do if they discovered a fire?
Well, the first thing to do is shout fire or kajida, as loud as you can to let other people know of the danger. Then you should immediately call 119 on your home or mobile phone.
119 is a number to get help for either a fire emergency or a medical emergency.
And don't worry if you can't speak Japanese. The Nishinomiya Fire Department has a multilingual interpreter service provided in English, Chinese, Korean, Portuguese, or Spanish. And it's available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
So you can just say, 英語お願いします for an interpreter.
That's right. Then you can have a three-way conversation between you, the fire department, and an interpreter. So never hesitate to call 119 in case of emergency.
And don't forget, you can always ask for help from people around you in case of emergency.
For applications and any other inquiries, contact NIA at 0798-328680 or send an email to nia@nishi.or.jp. Our English-speaking staff will be happy to help.
Please continue to be careful and stay safe.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会でした。
Have a great weekend, everyone.